Hi there, this is my first proper whisper video, and well, I don't know how good it'd be. I'm just doing a channel devoted to like scary stories and scary whispers and things like that, mainly because I'm a big fan of the supernatural and TV shows like Supernatural and Charmed, and as well as many sci-fi shows as well, and I'm a big fan of mythology and like legends and things like that. And also because my mother has had, she's a clairvoyant and she has had personal encounters with ghosts, but not as we'd see them as like trapped souls, more like, from what she sees it as, is it's more like a loop back in time, like that you can, like, time is a ball of string, and there's only it's a continual loop that keeps growing, but it's like scrunched up, and at certain points in the fabric of space and time there's bits that touch, and some people can pick up on the frequencies of that other timeline and see through to either the past or future. For instance, sorry, I'm recording in my bed, so if it's creaky, that's understandable. For instance, one story she's told me a few times, which could be made explainable by this instance, is when in the Lake District with my father, they were in the pub, and it was quite loud, and my dad's deaf, so he didn't hear properly what she said, and he was busy talking to someone next to him, and she tried to tell him she was going to go to the loo, could he get, like, the barman, ask the barman where it was, or ask a waiter where it was, because obviously my dad's taller than my mum, and it was quite crowded at the time. It was a popular pub, and it was actually turned out to be noted for hauntings every so often. Like the waitresses, would spot someone walk across the landing and then go out the door, and they'd just disappear through the door instead of like opening it. Or they'd go to serve someone and suddenly that person would disappear. Now, to properly begin this story, she just went, "Oh, I can't be bothered, and I'll just tell him when I get back. If he needs us, he can text us or ring us or something." This is what she told us was going through her head, so she got up and she left, and she spotted a man who seemed to be heading towards the gents, because he seemed to know his way around, and she didn't notice until the end of this story, but he seemed to very easily make his way through the heaving crowd without being budged. Like, people just made their way, made out of his way. Like, he just seemed to have the perfect path through the traffic of people. And so she followed close to him, hoping he was going to the loo, and followed him up these old stairs to what appeared to be a staff entrance or something. But she thought, "Oh, maybe I should wait at the bottom of the stairs, maybe he's actually just the manager or something, or he lives upstairs and I'm going the wrong way to the loo. And she stood at the bottom of the stairs and she told me that just as he seemed to go to the door to go and open it, the hair stood up on the back of her neck, and he turned around and looked directly at her, like she'd been following him, like as in she was the ghost. And he turned back around and disappeared. My mum went to go and get my dad and told him about it. The barman who my dad was talking to overheard and said, "Oh, there's something about that. The manager may want to speak to us about it." And so they stayed in for like the lock-in after it died down, and the manager came out and she said, "Yes, he's been known to pass through here every so often when some people see him, bartender sees him, things like that, and that he was the old landlord of the pub, like the old owner, and he used to live in one of the tenancies above the floor with the pub in." She told me many stories, like one time she stayed in a hotel with my father, and once again this is like they go on a few anniversary trips and these tend to happen, and it was a building that had been based upon another, like it had been rebuilt from an older one that had been partially destroyed, I think, during World War II, but was originally a Victorian like house of like nobles or like lords and ladies would stay there, kind of like a guest house for the posh aristocrats at the time. And my mum, in order to get to the hotel room, had to pass by this old archway corridor which led to part of the old building, which was still part of the old building where the new building joined the old one. And she kept on getting drawn to it, but never really did anything. And she was telling my dad about it one time late at night in the bar of the hotel on the bottom floor. And one of the head deputy manager of that part of the hotel, who managed things like the bar and the cleaning and things like that, who had worked there a long time, and he said yes, there's been supposed hauntings there. He said after overhearing her talk about it to my father, and asked her if she wouldn't mind investigating it for them, being that she's clairvoyant, after she'd explained this to him, of course. And she went up there, and she went into the corridor and began pacing back and forth in the corridor, and then every so often stopping, like she was looking out. From what she said, it was like she was looking out the window, and she said it felt like this wasn't her doing it, but she could feel this wash of sadness and anger and restraint, and like she wanted to look out of the window, but it was disallowed. And with some of the manager's help, and obviously the fact that she'd been able to tap in the mind of this young woman, as it turned out to be, young maid, in the original building there was a window there, but it had been extended out for the building. But the original building, in the 1800s, there was a maid, and I can't remember if she had a name, but she used to kind of, like, it was her job to help people in the certain rooms and tidy up that certain part of the floor. But one day she was waiting for her fiance, her boyfriend, her lover, to come, and she looked out the window a few times to try and see if he was there, but had presumably, from what my mum felt, had been told off by one of the elder maids to not look out the window, not dawdle, not waste their time, and if she was caught looking out the window again, being a bit of a airhead as they presumed she was being, daydreaming or something, then she'd be fired. So she was unallowed to do that, and she was pacing back and forth, very upset. And unfortunately, the fiance or the boyfriend never turned up, and she was found next day hung in her maid quarters. And so the old building, where her last thoughts of pain and anguish were kind of sealed away in that part of the building. And many a modern maid and cleaner, specifically women, have always felt very sad and drawn to that place in the hotel, from what the deputy manager said. And it was very sad when my mum first told me that a few years ago. Right, well, I'll have to bring this video to an end now, because unfortunately I haven't, I've only just started up this account and I haven't got the availability to go over 15 minutes, which is a good thing, I guess. Stops me from just rambling on. But I hope you enjoyed my first two stories. Next ones will be proper, like, ghost stories, I guess. Not ones of my own experience or my mum's, but ones based upon legends that may be true, may not be true, but I'm not really bothered, as long as it helps the people who are listening, helps my listeners get off to sleep. I'll be happy about that. So thank you for listening, and sleep tight.